Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. Today I have another craft my to-do list video for you guys. The first one was really fun. If you missed that, I will link it down below for you or in the cards. But basically what it is I go through my craft supplies and I pull out things that I had intended to make a DIY or a project out of, and it's just been sitting in my craft supplies, pulling things out randomly and starting to complete those projects. So I thought it would be fun to make some like Mother's Day inspired projects. So I have an assortment of things here. So this little wood blank I got at the Target dollar spot, I want to say like at least 2 or maybe even 3 years ago. So I'm gonna make a cute little sign with that. I have a t-shirt that has been in my craft space for a while as well. I believe this one was from Dollar Tree. I have a phone case that I want to decal. I did pick this up here in Japan, as well as this water flask. I want to say a couple months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And then this is a Dollar Tree pot holder and some Dollar Tree socks. These are 100% polyester, as well as this pot mitt. So I thought I could sublimate on these. I could do like a cute little saying on the bottom of these socks and then sublimate on the pot holder as well. And then I have a tote bag. So I figured I could do all Mother's Day related SVGs and sublimation files for these projects, since Mother's Day is coming up. And all of the files that I'm going to be using for today's projects are all going to be from Creative Fabrica, who I have partnered with and who I also partnered with in the last video. So before we get into the projects, I'm going to go ahead and talk about a couple of spring promos that are going on right now with Creative Fabrica, and then we'll go ahead and get into the projects. So Creative Fabrica is a digital marketplace for crafters with over 7 million fonts and graphics, as well as online classes. Creative Fabrica also developed CF Spark, which uses AI and allows you to ignite your creative ideas and create your own custom artwork in just a few clicks. Right now, for the spring promo, Creative Fabrica is offering all of those things I just mentioned. So all access to over 7 million fonts and graphics with the commercial license, the online classes, and CF Spark for only $4.99 a month, which comes out to $59 for the year with a total savings of $49. The all access subscription is 100% risk-free, so you can cancel at any time if the subscription does not suit your needs. The spring promo will be running from April 12th through the 30th of this year, so 2023 if you happen to be watching this video in the future. I will leave the link down in the description box of this video, as well as links to all of the files I use for the project in today's video if you want to purchase those files individually. But again, it saves to become a member with the all access subscription, because the yearly subscription broken down by month will be about the same price as 1 or 2 downloads. I hope I'm making sense, but I suggest just going and browsing the website so you guys can see if it's something that would benefit you, and then looking at the price of individual downloads and then compare it to the yearly subscription. Also, be sure you're following me on Instagram, because Creative Fabrica will also be doing some big giveaways later on this month. So that's where I'm going to be sharing that info later on. But let's go ahead and get into these projects. For the first project, I used this font duo called Beautiful Wildflower. I love downloading font duos because it takes the work out of trying to find fonts that go well together. So in Cricut Design Space, I just typed the words home is, and then where you're in the tall skinny font of the duo, and then the words mom is in the script font of the duo. I went through my vinyl scraps and found a black piece of vinyl and used that. I like to organize my vinyl scraps in file folder holders by color and type. It just helps me find what I'm looking for fast. Next, I just load my vinyl onto the mat and send it through my Cricut Maker. This vinyl is premium removable vinyl by Cricut. I wanted to use removable vinyl for this project because I want to end up remaking this sign later on in the future to say something else. Then I just weed off the excess vinyl, apply my transfer tape, and then burnish and transfer my vinyl on the wood decor piece. This wood blank looks a little rough because I actually painted over some spots with white acrylic paint, because the first time I did this, the transfer tape actually pulled up the paint that was already on there. So I just went back and touched it up and then sealed it so that it wouldn't do that the next time I peeled off the transfer tape. For the phone case, I used this file from this retro SVG bundle and some scraps of this bubble-free mirror chrome adhesive vinyl by TECKWRAP. I had used this vinyl to create some acrylic keychains in a previous video, and so these were the leftover scraps. I will link the craft vinyl I use from TECKWRAP down below, as well as my 5% off coupon code if you want to use the same vinyl. I laid down the strips of vinyl first this time on the mat, and then went into Cricut Design Space where I had created a template of the space I would be decaling on the phone. So I just used a square, and then once I sized it, I deleted that square, and then when I got to the prepare mat screen, I arranged the words on the screen mat according to where I laid the strips of vinyl on the physical mat. So I just basically matched it up to where it was going to cut, and then the cut setting I use for this vinyl is just the regular vinyl setting, but with more pressure selected under the drop down menu. Once my machine is done cutting, I remove the mat and then the vinyl strips from the mat by flipping it over. I trim off the excess with my scissors because I actually want to save those little scraps again for another project later on. I really do save all of my scraps. And then I just go ahead and weed off the excess vinyl using my pin pen. I grab a scrap piece of transfer tape from my little scraps organizer, and I will link this down below. It's in my Amazon storefront. And then I go ahead and start applying the decals one at a time to the phone case using the same piece of transfer tape. When you have multiple decals that fit a certain way or are layered, it helps to keep the design up on the screen, so that as you are applying your decal, you don't mess up the order or the layers. So I actually kept my design up on Cricut Design Space so that I could see which order to apply the words, because I totally forgot which one came first. So that's just a helpful little tip. For the flask DIY, I used the font Better Together and typed out the word Mama on Cricut Design Space. I used a scrap of Opal white vinyl by TECKWRAP and applied it like I would any other decal using a piece of transfer tape after I weeded out the excess or weeded off the excess vinyl. I love how simple this DIY was, using my scraps to customize the flask. I picked this flask, this one up from Daiso, and I like how slim it was because I typically wear smaller purses or slim crossbody bags. So I knew this would make the perfect little water bottle for me to carry around. But I wanted to make it a little more cutesy because it was very plain and boring. So this DIY turned out perfect for me. This would also be such an easy moneymaker DIY if you like to make any sort of bridal gifts or party favors. For the pot holders, I used 2 designs from this retro bundle. I'm very into retro lettering and designs right now, if you couldn't tell. But instead of uploading these to Cricut Design Space this time, I'm actually going to upload the PNG files to Canva because I will be sending these to my sublimation printer. Once I have my designs uploaded in Canva, on a blank letter size canvas, I'm going to add the 2 designs and shrink them down to fit inside the area I want them to go on the pot holder. So once I do that, I'm just going to flip them horizontally because I will be ironing these on to the pot holders face down or design side down. And once I do that, I'm just going to save the design as a PNG to my computer, select it once it's downloaded, and then print on my sublimation printer, which is the Epson printer. I like to change the print quality to the best on my settings before I print. I feel like it just makes it look a little bit better than just leaving the setting to default. And Canva is free to use, by the way, if you've never used it before. I do pay for the pro version, but that's just because I use it every day and I use some features that aren't available on the free version, but I'm pretty sure the horizontal flip is available on the free version. While my heat press is heating up to 400 degrees, I cut out my designs on the sublimation paper. I will link the sublimation paper, the ink, and my printer down below if you're curious to what I use. I also have a video setting up an Epson printer for sublimation. I will link that video as well if you're interested or you're new to sublimation. It's very easy to do. But I went ahead and I just ironed out the wrinkles real quick with my heat press, waited a minute for it to cool, and then placed my designs face down and then taped them down with some heat resistant tape to keep the paper from moving or shifting. Then I took a Teflon sheet, placed that on top, and then firmly pressed my heat plate on top for 30 seconds at 400 degrees. The lighter your fabric blank is, the more vibrant the colors are going to pop when you sublimate. Also keep in mind that you need a high polyester count for sublimation to work correctly. I know they make products like sprays that you can buy to make sublimation work better on like high cotton count fabrics, but longevity wise, a high polyester count is the way to go. And again, I picked the sublimation blanks up at Dollar Tree a while back, so I didn't break the bank when I bought these. So check like your local dollar stores, check the labels or the tags and see what the polyester count is. And a lot of times you can pick up really cheap sublimation blanks up at places like that. For the socks, I'm going to be using this Funny Sock Saying bundle. It comes with, if you can read this, in 2 different styles and then a bunch of demands that you can just mix and match. And just like the pot holder DIY, I'm going to upload these to Canva because I will be sublimating these. So once in Canva, just like before, I'm going to add my uploaded files to a blank 8.5 by 11 canvas or letter size canvas, size them to fit my socks, and then flip them horizontally. I'm going to download the new file and then print using my Epson sublimation printer. Just like before, I'm going to heat press the designs at 400 degrees for 30 seconds, but before I do, I need to make sure that I prep my socks by ironing them so that they are flat on the bottom, because when I take the packaging off, they're creased on the side. So once I have them flat, just like before, I'm going to place them face down, securing them in place with my heat resistant tape, the Teflon sheet, and then apply the heat. These are such an inexpensive gift idea, and you could buy a whole pack of socks and use just one printout on sublimation printer. As you saw, I could have fit several more sock designs on that paper. These turned out so cute, and again, I found these socks at Dollar Tree. For the t-shirt, I'm using another retro design, Mama Needs Coffee, and I wanted to use puff heat transfer vinyl for this design because I'm obsessed. So I'm going to upload it to Cricut Design Space. Now, this file says it's a PNG for sublimation, but you can actually upload PNGs into Design Space and turn it into a cut file using the built-in background removing tool. So after I did that, I just sized it down, click Make It, and mirrored my image just like with any other HTV. And the cut setting I used for this vinyl is just the iron-on setting. Next, I cut off a large piece of my puff HTV with my paper trimmer and then apply it to my cutting mat shiny side or color side down. And then I let my Cricut cut out the vinyl. When it's done, I weed off the excess vinyl using a weeding hook. I set my easy press to 315 degrees for 15 seconds while I'm weeding out the vinyl. This is the heat setting that I've been using with this puff HTV on several projects now, and I just really like the outcome. I know some people like to use a lower heat setting, but this is what works for me and what I like. So the vinyl is made from 100% polyurethane, so when you heat it up or when heat is applied, it puffs up to look three-dimensional and fuzzy, almost like a fabric patch, but it's actually the same texture as like the grips on hospital socks is the best way I can describe how it feels. But it doesn't look like it. So it's kind of confusing, but it's kind of a mind trick because you're feeling something and it's completely different than what your eyes see. So I've been playing with this puff HTV so much lately because it's just so fun and exciting to see it puff up, and it's easily become one of my favorite HTVs to use. So next I go ahead and layer the design on my shirt and secure it in place with heat resistant tape. The carrier sheet is not sticky at all like most HTVs, so you do need to tape it down when you're applying it. Then I just place my Teflon sheet on top and then apply the 315 degree heat for 15 seconds, and then magic, it puffs up. It's so fun. You guys have to try out this HTV. I will link it below. I think this is now the third or fourth time I've talked about it, but it truly is an amazing product. For the last DIY, the tote bag, I used this Mama Bear Mother's Day SVG, and I'm following the same exact steps as the t-shirt, except I actually have to weld this design together in Design Space before clicking Make It. And again, I just make sure to mirror my image and then use the Everyday Iron-On cut setting. I'm going to be using the brown puff HTV for this one. I almost used the black one again, but then thought the brown would be so cute for the bear. So again, I just run it through my machine, weed out the design, use my heat resistant tape to keep it all in place, layer the Teflon, and then apply heat for 15 seconds at 315 degrees. This would make such a cute Mother's Day gift combined with some of the other things I made in this video as an example. You could also buy like some cute little flip-flops, a book, some sunscreen, and gift it in a cute customized tote bag like this instead of using a regular gift bag, because the tote can be reused over and over again. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really enjoyed making these projects and showing you guys my process. If you found this video helpful or inspirational in any way, I would love it if you would click the like and subscribe button on your way out, and click the notification bell if you want to be notified when I post new videos. Again, you can find all of the product links in the description box of this video by clicking on the words "Show More" right below this video. And also don't forget to check out Create Fabrica for all of your crafting resource needs. Until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, week, weekend. I'll see you later, and take care.